Coca-Cola brought out their new Christmas ad, and it looks exactly the same as the last year's ad, and it's dividing the whole creative community. Then we're going to talk about the future of content. Ari Emanuel, one of the heavy hitters in Hollywood producing industry, he said that he's seeing a trend of more people having 3-day weekends, and then with AI, with robotics, it might be that people are going to have more free time, which means there is going to be bigger demand for content. Then we're going to discuss owning your intellectual property, a new model that allows you to make long AI videos. And then Dimi is going to bring it in with his topics, which are
Guillermo del Toro, Steven Soderbergh, and George Miller. What do they have in common? They are huge, heavy-hitting big filmmakers, but they are divided by AI in the camp of pro, in the camp of con. And I'm interested to dive into that and see why and what is rationale. Then going all the way to that Netflix K-pop demon killers being basically accused of using AI to create the songs, which are pretty much the big thing about their film. And then secondly, just documentaries now being used for AI and how they can do better storytelling and better content for teaching kids historical evidence. That is the podcast today. So Mik, lead us in straight with your first one.
All right, let's jump into the Coca-Cola one because I find it fascinating. I saw somebody posting, hey, Coca-Cola released a Christmas ad, which is made by AI. And I watched it and I was like, wait, isn't it this same exact thing that I've seen last year? I thought somebody was trolling me.
This pisses me off because recently I saw someone on my Instagram who works for a pretty big creative agency. Here's the hint. If you get that one. They had a pop at the AI advert saying, oh, this is such a boring use of AI. They're just making the same advert again. And it annoys me because would you be saying that if it wasn't the use of AI? That advert has ran for nearly 20 years straight. Coca-Cola, arguably one of the biggest advertisers in the world, who literally changed the color of Santa Claus from green to red because it worked for branding. Do you think they are not smart enough to know, yeah, we're going to do the same ad again because we say when it's Christmas. When we air this ad, it's Christmas. That holidays are coming, that signifies that it's time to get warm on a blanket and whack your tree up, all right? So why have a pop because it's AI? It's just they're adapting to the times like everyone else is. So stop asking for this new realm. We need new creativity. No, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's pissing me off. Wow, that's why I went on a tangent then. I went on a proper Karen tangent.
I think it was really good. And then my biggest takeaway from this is, why do an AI ad if they caught so much slack for it last year? And it seems like even though they got so much negative press, all press is good press in this example, right? It seems like the ad itself hasn't even improved much from year to year. Like, I've seen the AI video models actually develop way past what they accomplished with this ad. And they're talking about how it's fewer people working on these ads. And it's amazing, but maybe it's a tactic to strong arm agencies or something. I don't know. But the work is decent. I cannot really say that this is bad work, but I would have expected the top companies to push the envelope a little bit further.
You're right in what you're saying. There's no such thing as bad PR. All right, either way, you're getting noticed, which is what you want from a brand. In terms of pushing the envelope, I think because this is still a relatively new industry. You and I are still playing with models, working out what's the best workflow. So I think they haven't pushed the envelope just yet because I don't think there's a particular leader in the space that can really say, hey, what do you want to do? We can achieve anything. Actually, no, there's limitations here, limitations there. So I think this is the foreshadowing. Next year, in the space of a year, you've seen how far we've come in 2-3 years, what they're going to do again. So I think this is just a precursor. So I'm not judging it too much. I think I'm just more judging the tone. Like, oh, I use AI to make this. No. So it's interesting. They know what they're doing.
Speaking of judging something for being AI, talk to me about the K-pop demon hunters.
So I don't. This is not sure how confirmed this is. K-pop demon hunters, which the story about is quite interesting. I don't know how it ended up in Netflix's lap, but a lot of people passed on it because I thought no one's going to watch a anime style 3D animation video about K-pop people who hunt demons. right? And Netflix went, no, we're going to take a hit on it, and it blew up. It's huge. You can't see it for love nor money. It's everywhere. Some people are claiming now that the K-pop element of it, which is huge, the songs, the vibe, has been used and has been created with AI. Now, this can be serious if this comes to light. So right now it's rumors, but imagine if that comes to light. Imagine if that happens. And it's like, yeah, that really successful thing we did where like everyone's loving it and the music, yeah, that came from AI. So it's what you and I spoke about early days with the actors, but with the audio sense. Would the audience know, and how wise would they be, and how pissed off would they be? So what's your thoughts? Like, if this rumor, to say, we don't know yet, let's not speculate around facts, but Mik, in this case, if this turned out to be true, what do you think?
I think this is fascinating. And this is something that I thought about doing for a short film festival, right? To make a film for a festival that's specifically anti-AI and not tell anyone that there's any AI element in the movie. And then after the film passes through and people maybe like it even, I don't know if I'm good enough filmmaker to do that, but then I would reveal that it's AI. And I thought this would be a great social experiment. But now if this is true, we're going to see it unroll at a scale that we didn't anticipate, because that's going to push people in one of two ways. Some people are going to just straight up reject it and say, this is BS, like I don't care about this. But some people are going to be like, wait, so it doesn't matter. So suddenly AI is good enough. Or rather a person with, again, taste, storytelling abilities, and bringing all of this together. I think that's still going to be the bedrock of this whole situation. Like, it is a person. It's human doing this. And AI might have been used for concept art or even creating characters, but who cares at this point? Like, who cares? I think this needs to happen. Somebody's going to release shows with a lot of AI involved in VFX, and there's going to be more and more and more and more. And suddenly they're going to reveal that, oh, that thing that you've been watching, yeah, it's been made by AI, like 70%, 80%. And that's it. The industry is going to be like, oh, okay, so this is good enough. Like, if people don't know, it's fine. And we discussed this on a previous episode. If we're all entering, watching the film experience with the same expectations of, I'm suspending my disbelief and I don't care how this was made, then it's a win-win for everyone. That, you know, again, like you said, this is an IP that nobody would have taken a chance on, right? So what if suddenly Netflix could spool up, instead of 30 pilots a year, like a service? That would be pretty cool, like a Netflix Lite, you know, or like a Netflix pilot, where you spool up 300 or 3,000 shows, and you just have, let's say, 5-minute to 10-minute pilot episodes, right? Made with AI. And then as people watch them, you see whether people vote, or you see their watching habits, you see whether they drop off, and then you're like, okay, we're going to produce one of these shows.
Wasn't that exactly what Meta did with their channel for AI that you spoke about a few weeks ago? That was it, IG or Meta coming up with the solo channel just for AI content?
Yeah, it was a solo app. Yeah. There are two of these apps, Sora and Vibes. Next on the agenda, legendary producer Ari Emanuel talked about seeing the trends of people having a 4-day work week. And with remote work, we all know, we've all been there, you can get away with leaving the work a little bit earlier sometimes, you know, or going on holidays and not telling your boss, you know, like that might happen once or twice.
I just told you when I was there.
Oh no, I didn't book it in. Oh, I'm sorry. But I'll be working from my laptop, yeah? I'll be working from my laptop on a train.
Mik, I tripped and I fell straight into Heathrow Airport. It's really weird. I don't know how it happened.
Yeah, suddenly you were unavailable on a Friday morning, and then on Saturday you're in Greece. And I was like, what? How is that? Okay, that's fine.
Yeah. Just ignore those WhatsApp single tip deliveries. It's just a weird thing in my WhatsApp. I definitely was not on a plane.
Yeah.
I was not on a plane.
Anyway, why is this important here for this conversation? Well, Ari Emanuel made a great point when asked about where is the content production going? Will we need more content, more varied content? And his bet basically is that we will need way and way more varied content going forward. So all of this AI stuff is not going to kill content production. And there are two reasons here. One, imagine if people suddenly regularly work 4-day weeks, there's a significant increase in the amount of time they have to consume more content because people will need to do something with their time. And then going forward, if all of the AI promises and the robotics that are coming, if this is actually going to take over the economy and a lot of jobs, and we'll have UBI and the utopia of people working fewer and fewer days, people need to kill the time, so people will need content. So content production seems to be destined to just keep going up in value. And why is it a trend that he noticed? He said that he noticed a lot of people booking hotels on a Thursday night, or rather for a Thursday night, which means people are already traveling earlier, right? So the second part about this is his bet on live content. And that is something that AI will never be able to touch because people want to watch sports. People want to watch unpredictable events that aren't just generated by computers. And we spoke about the example of chess. Chess is a solved game. There was a recent development where a new chess engine beat all of the grandmaster level players without a queen. So now, these chess models can...
I need the queen. I can't play without the queen. I have no idea what I'm doing.
Yeah, it represents your personality. And then we have, of course, powerful, so versatile. That's what I meant. Not just a queen and a diva. If you really look into this, chess has been solved. Chess has been solved as a game, and there is no human. You could put 8 billion people to play against the computer and they will all lose. However, chess is skyrocketing in popularity because people still want to watch humans play against each other, and there is backstories, and there is a little bit of drama, and there is commentaries.
Magnus?
Yeah. You have all these players that engage in drama. Then you have the whole YouTube commentating space, right? Like you have people commentating the matches and then analyzing the games that have happened. And oh my God, we're going into the world tournament. Who is going to win? Who's going to lose? It's actually pretty fascinating. Since I started playing chess, I find this actually pretty fascinating. And I never...
You play chess now?
Yeah, I like it.
Oh, I played chess since I was a fucking kid. Oh, we should totally play. Oh, that's going to be so great. Tune in next week for just a whole hour of me and Mik playing chess.
On a podcast, so you cannot really see what we're doing because we're not going to discuss
Quick fun fact. You remember the Queen's Gambit? No, the Netflix was huge and that really spiked. Was it, like I said, after Netflix released that, there was a huge spike in chessboard sales on Amazon. Fun fact, you know who actually wrote the original spec script who wanted to make a movie about the Queen's Gambit? You would never guess this. I'll give you one hint. It was one of the best villains of all time.
What's his name? Is it the bald guy from the UK?
I mean, literally, that could be anyone.
Well, my biggest bet is like if it's a villain, it's probably a British actor, pretty British character.
Not British.
All right, so I don't know. Is it the guy who played Darth Vader?
Heath Ledger. Before Heath Ledger died, he just finished his outline and spec script for a Queen's Gambit movie.
Oh, that's interesting. That's actually pretty fascinating. I would have never guessed that. Live content, live sports, live entertainment is going to be even more valued. Like, you can see that boxing, UFC, the power slaps, chess, all of this is just getting up and up in popularity. And in part, this is fueled by the raging gambling epidemic amongst young people in the US because they're relaxing the gambling laws and people are losing their life savings. This is like the worst thing ever. But
also, they're introducing it younger. I mean, isn't unpacking Pokemon cards literally just gambling nowadays? Like, that's literally what
it's like gambling on live stream, right? But that's what I mean. It's about live. It's about seeing people's reactions, and it's about failing. It's like you mentioned watching NASCAR. You watch NASCAR for the crashes. You watch, like you watch for the unpredictability. You watch for the human failure, right? Like you watch you would watch like a rocket launch and still go, oh, is it going to explode? Ooh. I don't know. Hopefully there are no people on board.
But also the shift in dynamic though, from the people only being able to do live shows, where reality TV shows, you mentioned the Kardashians in our pre-chat to the podcast, right? Look at this shift now where social media influencers have taken over that space. And I really hope, and I bet it pisses off all those Bravo TV stars, the reality TV, so the Kardashians, Below Deck, housewives of some suburbia in somewhere in America where they have lots of money.
You seem to have a deep knowledge of these shows.
Oh, sorry, you're breaking up. Anyway, but like now look at IShowSpeed, Kai Cenat. Kai Cenat literally has celebrities dying to get on his, is it Mafia-thon, where like Kevin Hart is there, is there. They're having people going, shit, we need to get on that because our original exposure platform ain't kind of working no more. These Netflix specials, these reality TV shows, episodic, aren't working anymore. So it's that unfiltered, it's literally you, me talking right now for 24 hours and people watching this more than a TV show that's been edited, cut, mixed, graded, There's the paradigmic shift now to more the people's hands. And that's what's interesting.
Yeah, you can see that with people's reactions. A few years ago, it was YouTubers like David Dobrik or Logan Paul just going out and having a sale of their merch, right? And they would have tens of thousands of people blocking the streets just to see them, just to interact with them. It was crazy. So now we have the next level of that, which is the live streaming. And I think this is all about this parasocial relationship that develops when you spend a lot of time with another person, right? So it used to be that some of the celebrities don't have social media, and that is their value. Because if you know somebody too well, you will not really believe in IShowSpeed, Kai Cenat playing a serious character in a movie, right? You're just going to see them as a person. You know them too well.
Look at Cillian Murphy. He has no Instagram. And he's an Oscar winner. He says, I hate it. No social media. He went, I'm a dad. I'm an actor. That's it. I'm not putting my life out on social media, which is exactly what he said.
Yeah, Leonardo DiCaprio is very similar, right? So it's a balancing act between really promoting something and putting yourself out there and then maintaining that aura of mysticism around you, right? Only recently, it was the first time that Brad Pitt went on a long form podcast. I've never seen a long form interview with Brad Pitt. And he went on Dax Shepard's podcast and he was there for like an hour and a half. And then Leonardo DiCaprio was also on a podcast recently. And like I said, these are not just clips. They have to sit there and, perform for an extended period of time. But that still pales in comparison to daily vloggers like Casey Neistat, right? It was a thing to wake up every morning and see, oh my God, there is a new episode. I can spend 10 minutes with that person. What did they do yesterday? And after having done that for 400 days in a row, you're kind of addicted to them. And it doesn't matter what they look like. It doesn't matter whether they're attractive or not. Like, with all respect to Casey Neistat, he's not exactly a model face. And
no.
But after you've spent enough time with him, suddenly he just looks like a rock star, right? Like there is something that switches in your brain. And that was just 10 minutes a day. Now, IShowSpeed and all these streamers, they stream for like 8 hours a day, every single day. So you can tune in at any point. And that is crazy. So the future is live content and live shopping. We can also see that people just promoting and doing the sales.
How many apps do you see now live? Literally countdown, 5-second apps, where you get to bid on the thing. And it's like, okay, next. Do you remember that girl in China who got really famous for doing literally from out the box, like literally, and like people tuned in and watched it and bought stuff. It's the QVC of the internet.
Yeah. But that works. Alex Hormozi, one of the largest business YouTubers nowadays, he played the long game and he built his channel over multiple years, but all built up to 2 live events. And the last event, he made $105 million in 3 days, right, in sales. So yeah, it was all really geared towards this one moment and going live. And while you go live, you're pushing. And then, the live stream, people expected the first live stream to be like an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. and it lasted for, I think, 8. And then he did it again on Monday and then again on Tuesday. It's just like crazy. But anyway, the future is more content. People are going to have more time, so more time to kill, and live is just a thing that you can just tune in at any point.
Question. If we have more content, will the quality inevitably get bad because we are trying to ship more out? That is often the case, isn't it? With most, when you go things at scale, you can never have quantity and quality go hand in hand. So do you think now with this gap that's coming, so that means more stuff being greenlit, more stuff being put out there. So will it, do you think, then make the quality dip? Then are we in this hole again, this bubble of content that's just like is shit and is saturated?
Well, I think it's been happening progressively anyway with TikTok. Like a couple of years ago, we didn't have TikTok. We didn't have short form, right? So do we have more terrible content nowadays than we had 8 years ago? Yes, 100%.
Do you know what?
But we also have more good content. We just have more content overall. So I think it's going to be, let's say, 5 times more content that we produce in the next couple of years, which means that the ratio might stay the same, which is only 1% of it is good. But it still means that there's going to be 5 times more good things than we have now.
1% of 100 opposed to 1% of 1,000. Yeah, I get you. It's just interesting. I'm seeing nothing new on my TikTok at the moment. Also, I'm seeing like, I feel like I've already seen everything. Like there's nothing new. So that's why I asked the question, because I'm in a phase now where I'm either seeing AI generated content, news stories, AI generated content in general, or just repackaged content using AI. Like someone's done a story on a real video and someone's just taken it, made it, redid it again with AI voiceover and imagery, and then shift it back out. So that's why I'm a bit dubious, because if content increases, do you think we'll see more repetition or more echo chambers?
That is fascinating that you're bringing this up now, because yesterday I was on a train and I started watching a new video from a creator called Mik. He's this British guy that travels around the world, and he travels solo. And he goes to kind of dangerous places solo. So he went to North Korea, and then straight after his trip, North Korea closed down the borders again for anybody to come in with cameras. Recently, he went to Afghanistan, and he was hitchhiking in Afghanistan as a solo guy. But the whole content is just GoPro. He's just walking around with a GoPro, and it's straight cuts, and it works. It's amazing. I love watching his content. It's like 30 minutes, but you feel like you're there. There's no good production quality. There's no graphics. There's no fancy. It's just straight cuts. It's just telling the story. And I think that this is very symptomatic of all of the content production, which is, if somebody puts in unreasonable amount of effort into something that they film, like what is in front of the camera in real life, have you gone to some crazy lens to actually be in a place where nobody else has gone before? Have you done something unique? Do you have like a really unique angle on it? So you have those amazing artists and creators. There's this guy that does outfits on TikTok, right? And it's just like a nice cut outfits when he's like, oh, I'm going to make outfits for different fonts or alphabet or characters from Dune. And it's not about the production quality of it all. It's not about like some fancy edits, because that fizzles out really quickly. It's about the idea and the effort that's put in before, like in the content. I don't know it's just separating the content and the story from the cameras, from AI, from technology, from all of the tools that you're using. If that content is good, then it could be filmed on a potato. And you can see on the internet that that's the case. Like there are so many people right now filming just on their iPhones that have hundreds of thousands of subscribers. So yeah, in terms of like answering the question, does this mean we're going to have more terrible content? Yeah, but we're also going to have good content. And again, AI or regular filmmaking or just vlogging on YouTube, it all comes down to, is the idea good? Is the story engaging? Is the way that the story has been presented somewhat interesting? So, speaking of new ideas, intellectual property. this is a big one. If you make a film, if you pitch a TV series, if you make YouTube videos, if you make music, the biggest bet that you can make is to own their brand, to own the IP. And we see this with many directors in history, from George Lucas, Steven Spielberg, through Margot Robbie with Barbie, which was surprising to me to discover that she made $100 or $150 million off of Barbie. And this is not because of her acting in it. God, no. This is because
she was a producer.
Exactly. She was a producer on it. She bought the rights to it. She secured the rights to actually make that film. And that's where the money is. And a lot of the creators, a lot of the younger people find themselves managers, representation, and they just sell the IP. And it used to be...
And get fucked.
Exactly.
Just like music labels, you get fucked.
Exactly. You do not want to sell the IP. You want to own the masters, like Taylor Swift, right? Famously, she sold the masters to her music and then she had to re-record them because the guy she hated just bought them to spite her. Anyway, I thought it was very interesting and something that we should be thinking about now, which is with AI, being able to create anything and everything in no time, no resource, almost no effort. Owning the IP and securing the trademarks to the thing you created is going to be even more important. That's where the money always was, and that's where money always will be. Like, how do you protect yourself and how do you actually protect your ideas? Yeah, do you have any thoughts on that? Like off the cuff?
I think it's interesting because it's coming back to your discussion last week, do you actually create anything if you're clicking the camera button on your iPhone? At what point do you own the IP or own what element of it? It's interesting. I think, listen, if it gets anyone immediate success, they're going to sell their soul. They're going to sell their IP. That's why bands make shitty deals with music labels when they first get discovered. That's why studios fuck off writers for their scripts early on. And they're like, oh yeah, I got a $250K buyout. Oh no, you just literally lost millions. Look at the kid from Lion King. His mum said, no, you're not going to get a $250,000 check. You're going to get royalties and get paid $10,000. That kid today literally doesn't have to lift a finger ever again. It's quick wins, not long-term gains. But with the role of AI, I think it's got to be identified in a certain point. At what point was it the genesis of the idea? Was it you putting the prompt in? Is that when you own the IP, or was it when you develop? So it's for a legal case to work out when did the idea become a whole thing that you came up with and entered a prompt. That's what I think. And identifying that is fucking hard. It's
interesting. I listened to an interview with RJ Mitte. He was the son in Breaking Bad. And he was talking about how much money he made off of Breaking Bad. And apparently, Breaking Bad wasn't that popular when it was on AMC.
Oh, I did see it. Has he got like a long haircut now? I saw a slide of it and he went, how much money did you make off Breaking Bad? He's like, not that much. Or like...
Yeah. Bare minimum for the pilot. And then he made some money, but it's not like millions. Because Breaking Bad was on the verge of cancellation every season. We now consider this to be the best show of all time. Like objectively, it has the best ratings out of any show.
I've never seen it.
That's crazy. But what happened was AMC was bankrolling the show, but there was no viewership because AMC didn't have the greatest marketing or reach. But Breaking Bad exploded when it was on Netflix. And also, which is crazy, it's one of the most pirated shows ever in Eastern Europe. And funnily enough...
I literally pirated it at uni when I was at uni.
You said you never watched it.
I watched 4 episodes and then I gave up because it was slow. But also, at the same time, it came out during Game of Thrones. So remember there was that battle going on.
That's how I watched Breaking Bad in Poland. The only way to get access to Breaking Bad in English without an annoying voiceover in Polish was to... Yeah. But the only way to access that show was to actually just pirate it. And that's it. But if the network was actually smart, they would have allowed people in Poland to buy it for like a symbolic amount, I don't know, like $1 or something per episode, or even less, or just give people access if you pay for a season, or just enable better access. I think these deals, they were like region locked, were the dumbest thing ever. And now finally we have global access to most of the content. But Breaking Bad only exploded because of Netflix.
Interesting. You go on that, the regional costings. That I find that still so fascinating because even now, like my girlfriend's French, right? But sometimes we want to put English subtitles on because she can understand it, but just nice to see it at the same time. It's still shocking how much is not subtitled. You'd think it is, but there's a lot of stuff that isn't subtitled correctly. And Netflix is definitely a leader. I think their priorities are English, Eastern or European countries, then Asia straight away. It's quite interesting. And fun fact, you know the biggest European sold program is ever in history?
No.
Doctor Who to America. That was one of the biggest exports of Britain to America, and one of the biggest deals BBC America ever made was selling Doctor Who rights to the US.
That's depressing.
So it's interesting where different pockets... I know, right? Well, that was then, maybe not now. But I agree, the accessibility, because, like, what did you have growing up? Did you have Sky or cable in Poland? Like, we had Sky quite early on here.
Oh, yeah, because you were from a rich family. No. In Poland, we didn't...
Wow.
We didn't really have Sky. We had access to HBO. We have access to, like, the French one called Canal Plus. There are quite we had access to stuff, but we didn't have access, to a lot of just voiceovered or dubbed stuff, and it's just not the same. Yeah, you cannot really get the actor's delivery. You cannot really understand the intent, the cleverness in the writing when you're watching in a different language. And I don't want to say that like English language is the best language of all of them, because it has its problems. But what I'm trying to say is that only after I started watching stuff without the voiceovers, with subtitles, and then finally without any subtitles, I started appreciating the small jokes, the amount of small jokes, even in animated movies, watching something even now like Penguins of Madagascar, like, there's no way.
So many adult jokes in there,
yeah,
right?
But there are so many. There are so many jokes that you wouldn't get after the dubbing and after the translation, because they are so specific to the original language. Like it is pretty crazy, but you miss out on a lot if you are not watching the original. And that applies probably to us watching Squid Game, to watching anything in other languages, right?
Subbed, never dubbed. Always subbed, never dubbed.
Yeah, you miss out on a lot of emotional delivery, for example, in Squid Game, if you turn on this atrocious English dubbing. But then again, I don't know the language at all, so I cannot really say that I appreciate any type of subtlety or delivery there, right? So anyway, it just sounds like they're screaming all the time, but it's cool as fuck.
It's cool, but it's true. But speaking of like different region of filmmakers, there seems to be a divide on the planet going on at the moment. At one end, you've got Guillermo del Toro saying fuck AI. On the complete other side of the planet, you've got Mad Max director George Miller, who's a huge Australian director who came up with the Mad Max universe, who's embracing AI. So even now we're getting divides, not just like throughout the industry, but on different sides of the planet. And it's interesting because you've got Guillermo del Toro, who has made Frankenstein, and I've heard that it's a bit mid, and he's saying fuck AI. Where you've got people like George Miller, who also create these crazy universes, saying we should be embracing it. You've got Steven Soderbergh going, yeah, this is a tool. So I'm really now interested seeing that divide play out on a bigger stage, rather than, a few years ago you get Scorsese saying, oh God, superhero films aren't cinema, they're just rides. Like, you always get the against first, But now we're seeing that shift where actually no, you've got someone here who's quite reputable and someone here who's very reputable battling it out. So this is what I'm really excited to see now, how it goes in. But what's your thoughts now, like the big players coming into it? Because right now it's just been a few little people talking about it, like you and I on the podcast. But now we're getting more and more senior filmmakers who have been in industry since day dot throwing their weight around?
This is something that we touched upon last podcast, which was there are no big names yet in AI. So this is a pretty interesting development that these people are embracing it. I think more people than we think are playing with these models, and more of these traditional filmmakers are actually making something in their garage or like, in their office on their laptops, but they cannot admit it because they are part of Hollywood and they're part of this whole industry and are just waiting for the moment when it's acceptable. It's very much the same as the VFX industry. We talked about this off the podcast, that there was a film, Tron was snubbed at the Oscars because they used too much visual effects, right? So they were excluded from the visual effects category because they were using computer-generated imagery. And only later on, it became normal. So now you have proper visual effects awards given to films like Avatar or Avengers, which are like 90% to 100% computer-generated films. So this is what's going to happen with AI as well. We just need to normalize it in the industry. And I think Coca-Cola is doing the same thing with their ad, just to bring it back to the beginning of this whole discussion, which is they are paving the way, and at some point this is going to become more and more acceptable. Already they proved that 95% of their audience doesn't care at all because they just see an ad on TV in between the shows. They see it in bad quality because ads are usually served in bad quality. The internet is...
They take it for what it is, though. They take it for what it is. They are not suspending their belief.
And they're not like... Nobody's expecting the Coca-Cola ad to be some cinematic masterpiece that people are going to analyze and then go for awards. As we both know, most ads that are made for awards are not the best ads. They're just there for the industry to...
Hey, I made an award-winning ad. Thank you very much.
Okay, how did that do?
Yeah, it was good for about a week and then everyone forgot.
So like you can make an ad, but making an ad for the people, making an ad that sells stuff, and that's the unfortunate truth of advertising, is that most ads that perform are pretty bland. They have very clear like call to action, and they're like, hey, this is the product, this is how it solves your problem. And then there are all of these agencies that try to be super clever, especially in London. This is something that I've experienced in the London advertising and creative sphere, that people here try to be intellectuals and they try to like outsmart each other and be like, oh my God, this tagline I've done is so clever because there's like a double entendre there and there's an alliteration and whatever. It's like, nobody cares. Like at the end of the day, to purchase a product or to work somewhere, yeah, it grabs my attention for a second, but yeah, it's like the good ads. If you go to like Ogilvy book on advertising, he shows perfect examples of ads that are like just like a wall of text. And a lot of the big courses, a lot of the big products are sold with tons and tons of text on the homepage. Even if you go to the iPhone ads, we look at Apple as like this minimalist thing, but their keynote is like an hour and a half of going into technical details of the new iPhone. And then if you go to the website, it's multiple like sub pages. Layers, talking about the technology, talking about this, that. And in addition to that, they have a couple of like minimal ads that just show the thinness of the iPhone. But again, bringing it back, it's all about what works. If these AI ads can be seamlessly integrated into the current content flow, this is going to be a win for the big corporations.
You've seen Minority Report, Steven Spielberg's incredibly glary, highlight-driven cinematography piece with Tom Cruise. I think we're going towards that whole point where you can now, I think he's called it so clever. We're going to be walking in a space where somehow we'll be ID'd, we'll know what's best to be served for us, and in an instant, AI will go, cool, we're going to give you this ad. I genuinely think that is a future, and I don't sound conspiracist or like crazy. I think that's where we're going. Once we nail the generating of AI to appeal to an audience for advertising, then using AI to target them in an instant, because it's only getting faster, we're going to walk out of our front door, we're going to be served, I don't know, 1,000 times more ads a day because they know how to target us. That's what I think the future is going.
Yeah.
And I think that's
And
crazy.
to be honest, every new medium, I guess advertising and music videos are kind of like the first frontiers of testing the new stuff, of implementing the new stuff into the mainstream, and then it trickles down into shows, into Hollywood, into cinema. And with the new models, like the newly released LTX2 model, which enables you to generate 20-second clips, the storytelling abilities for filmmakers are just growing, because we were so limited by these just 5 to 8 second generations. And let's be honest, yes, you can make a video that's a cut every 3 to 8 seconds, but it doesn't allow for a lot of, it doesn't breathe. It doesn't allow for these slower moments. And making a film or a series, it's kind of like music, right? Like you need a rhythm, you need like something really quick, and then you need to let it breathe for a second, let people process what just happened before we take them.
Just like our narrative arcs.
Or like,
it's calm. Calm again. We beat the hero. We beat the villain hero.
Yeah, it's like a roller coaster, right? Like you want the people to go on a journey where there's a little bit of anticipation, and then it starts snowballing, right? So right now we are getting these tools, and this is pretty amazing. I'm pretty excited about this. Finally,
Telling me,
I'm finally,
when I did my short film, the AI one, where I literally I had a problem, not a problem. I wanted to use AI to make the middle bit more interesting, and I literally remember sitting there in runway, motion painting. Oh, bad result. Oh, good result. Fuck, only 5 seconds long. Okay, let me put this into an AI upscaler, then up the frame rate so I can slow it down and stretch the clip out. Like, that took me weeks to do that. But now, like, I can have a 20-second tracking shot of my character, and then that leaves voice. Also, this leaves room for the shitty AI voiceovers to go away. When you said like last week about shitty AI voiceovers, you can like actually... You got longer now to tell more, rather than going, in a world where spaceships and horses are the same thing, and here's a world you never imagined. No.
Yeah. That's a really good point. That finally we'll go past the trailers, which are like just seemingly disconnected clips with somewhat coherent aesthetic. Glued,
kind of like your YouTube channel.
Yeah. Kind of like my YouTube channel. Yeah. But we're going to see more of that. And for me, I'm finally, I think, ready. I don't know if I'm ready, but whatever. To make my own film, the one that we discussed. To make my own film that we discussed recently. Just like a short film fully with AI. I think that we crossed the point where this is kind of good enough. And this is so interesting that out of the two of us, me embracing AI so early and just pushing it as like the future, you are the person that already has made a film using AI, and I'm only now like, this is only now good enough. Do you know what I mean? Like we flip and flop quite a bit with this.
We do. We flip and flop more like US politicians. But the thing is, hey, I'm cultured. Educated. But no, it's actually, this is the approach I've noticed, because I think you and I had that chat over WhatsApp, and we're like, here's the ideas, and we were snowballing. It was get really exciting, like, and this, and it kind of put in perspective that you will do it from the get-go using all of AI, whereas I'm still working my hybrid model at the moment. I'm still shooting, so I'll be interested for you and I to make something side by side, and then be like, cool, here's the hybrid, here's the full. And it's just two interesting perspectives, and see who can not achieve and who can do better, but what does it allow in the terms of storytelling and suspension of disbelief.
Yeah. Anyway, this is it for this week. Do you have anything else?
I don't at all. Nothing worth interesting. But big news. I believe this is... Wait, can you see this? Or is it that?
It's episode 10.
Yeah, 10. We did not think we were going to do this. No, it's not some big milestone, but when we first started talking, like, yo, bro, we've got to commit to this. I'm like, yeah, we got it. And you know what? Given our history of you and me working together, even before, this is like the most consistent thing we've done, apart from the pitching workshops you used to abuse me in when I used to learn how to talk to people. This is the most, that came out a bit weird. This is the most consistent thing you and I have done, and we've actually done 10 weeks.
Yeah, and to be fair, like we had busy times recently, and we recorded fewer of them, more of them. Like editing took me longer, but most podcasts don't make it past episode 3. That's like 99% of the podcasts don't make it past episode 3, and that's why they fail. I'm not saying we're a success yet because the episodes are still to be published, but being able to record 10 episodes is a big milestone, because now I'm like, oh, this is just part of what we do. Like this is what we do. And now hopefully we can get guests in. We have a couple of people that we want to talk to, and I actually see this as a pretty cool thing that we developed here. So I'm pretty proud of both of us. But yeah, I didn't expect this to happen.
Yeah. No, me neither. But now with that comes upping our game. So you might notice in the coming podcast that our quality might get that little bit better.
Maybe next time we'll like improve the mics, and the sky's the limit.
Oh God, yeah. As 2 seasoned filmmakers, let's see if we can make our shots a little bit better.
All right. See you next week.
Adios.